Nobody can deny that different social levels exist. There are people of the church and of the brothels, of business, and of the land, and so on. Thus also there are different levels of the being. Whatever we are internally, magnanimous or petty, generous or mean, violent or peaceful, lustful or chaste, attracts the diverse circumstances of life. A lustful person always attracts scenes, dramas, and even tragedies of lasciviousness in which he will inevitably find himself involved. It is obvious that a drunkard will attract drunkards and will always find himself involved with pubs and bars. That is obvious. What will the usurer attract? The egotist. How many problems, prison, misfortunes? Embittered people, however, tired of suffering, want to change, to turn the page of their story. Poor people, they want to change and do not know how, do not know the procedure. Everything in their lives is repeated. They say the same things, do the same things, lament the same things. This boring repetition of dramas, comedies, and tragedies will continue as long as we carry in our interior all the undesirable elements of anger, greed, lust, envy, pride, laziness, gluttony, and so on. What is our moral level? Or better said, what is our level of the being? The repetition of all our miseries, scenes, misfortunes, and mishaps will continue as long as the level of the being does not radically change. When we change internally and the change is radical, then the exterior circumstances, life, also change. By the law of psychological affinities, we begin to associate with more refined, more spiritual people. A higher level of being is directly above us from instant to instant. Within ourselves there exists a mathematical point. This point is found neither in the past nor in the future. Two beams, vertical and horizontal, of the Holy Cross meet at this point. The horizontal way is very pretentious and is traveled by all the world and his wife, every man and his dog, all and sundry, all and one. It is evident that the vertical, though, is different. It is the path of intelligent rebels, of revolutionaries. When a person remembers himself and works on himself, when he does not become identified with all the problems and sorrows of life, he is in fact on the vertical path. Certainly it is never an easy task to eliminate negative emotions, to break all identification with our own train of life. Problems of all kind, business, debts, loan payments, mortgages, telephone, water, electricity bills, etc. Those who suffered, those who cried, those who have been victims of some betrayal, some injustice in life, some ingratitude, a calumny, or some fraud, really forget themselves, forget their intimate, real being. They identify completely with their moral tragedy. The work to which we refer is of a psychological nature. It deals with a definite transformation of the present moment in which we find ourselves. We need to learn to live from instant to instant. For example, a person who is desperate about some sentimental, economical, or political problem has obviously forgotten himself. If this person would stop for a moment, observe the situation, and try to remember himself, and then make an effort to comprehend the meaning of his attitude, if you were to reflect a little and think that everything passes, that life is illusory, fleeting, and that death reduces to ashes all the vanities of the world. If he understood that his problem in reality is nothing more than a flash in the pan, a fatuous flame that soon abates, you would quickly see with surprise that everything had changed. It is possible to transform mechanical reactions. through logical confrontation and the intimate self-reflection of the being. It is clear that people react mechanically when faced with the diverse circumstances of life. Poor people, they are always accustomed to being victims. When flattered, they smile. When humiliated, they suffer. They insult if insulted. They hurt if they are hurt. They are never free. Their fellow men have the power to drive them from happiness to sadness, from hope to despair. Each of these people who are on the horizontal path is like a musical instrument on which any of his fellow men can play whatever tune he pleases. Whoever learns how to transform mechanical relations is in fact entering the vertical path. This represents a fundamental change in the level of being, the extraordinary result of psychological revolt. The human body grows and develops according to the biological laws of the species. However, such possibilities by themselves are very limited for the essence. Unquestionably, without help, the essence by itself can only grow a tiny degree. So that the essence can grow more, something very special must happen. Something new must be done. I want to refer emphatically to the work on oneself. The development of the essence is only possible on the basis of conscious works and voluntary sufferings. We all know that we have within us that which is called ego, I, myself, the self. Unfortunately, the essence is completely imprisoned, trapped inside the ego, and this is lamentable. To dissolve the psychological I and to disintegrate its undesirable elements is urgent, undelayable, unpostponable. This is the meaning of the work on oneself. We could never liberate the essence without having previously disintegrated the psychological I. No one could annihilate the psychological I without previously eliminating the inhuman elements that we carry within. When the psychological I has died, the essence is resplendent in us. The freed essence confers upon us intimate beauty, from which emanates perfect happiness and true love. The essence possesses many forms of perfection and extraordinary natural powers. When we die in ourselves, when we dissolve the psychological I, we enjoy the precious senses and powers of the essence. Tragic is the existence of he who dies without having known the purpose of his life. Each one of us must discover for himself the purpose of his own life, that which keeps him prisoner in the prison of pain. It is not essential for us to continue in misery. It is urgent for us to reduce to cosmic dust that which makes us so weak and unhappy. We must never forget that hypocrisy and the silly vanities of the false personality make us torpid, stale, retarded, reactionary, and incapable of seeing the new. Death has many meanings, both positive and negative. Let the dead bury the dead. To each event corresponds one or another state of mind. States are internal, and events are external. States and events are different. An event does not always correspond exactly to the state with which we would expect it to be connected. Our internal state during a pleasant event may not correspond with it. Our internal state during an unpleasant event may not correspond with it. When events that have been long awaited finally occur, we feel that something is missing. Certainly, the corresponding internal state which should have been combined with the external event was missing. Many times, the event which one had not expected turns out to be the one that provides us with the best moments.